couple months ago, I decided it was time to overhaul the transmission in my Mustang. Finding parts wasn't a problem. Trying to get the car up high enough to be able to work on it was. My floor jack could go a maximum of 19 inches. My tallest jack stands could go a maximum of 17 inches. I realized pretty quick that to be able to get the car to clear the undercarriage, even with the transmission sitting on the ground, I was going to have to put two more 2x10s under each jack stand. That would allow me enough to barely get the transmission out of the car if the car was up fully and the transmission was laying on the ground. In order to be able to get a transmission jack in it, I'd have to jack it up another 4 inches or so. That meant I'd have to take it up at least 3 more 2x10s on each jack stand. After trying to lower the car down from that height as a test, I had one of the jack stands shift on me while part of the car was on the floor jack and the other part was on one jack stand. That was enough to let me know that it was not going to be practical to be able to jack the car up that high. So the only alternative I had was to be able to take the transmission out while the transmission was sitting on the ground and do away with any concept of trying to use a real live transmission jack. So I had to figure out a way to lift up the transmission while it was under the car, and here's what I came up with. The initial trick was to put a layer of plastic underneath the entire car from where the transmission would come down up through the front where the engine is. Then I had this blue flat box cover like is used as a cover for plastic sealing containers and shipping. Then a small piece of sheet metal to act as a ramp. The rest of the unit is built out of mostly scrap 2x4s. All bolts are either 3/8 or 7/16. The center bolt bolts through the main hole in the floor jack. Using this concept, it was easy to drop the transmission down on the ramps, slide the transmission down the ramps into the pan, and then pull the pan out from underneath the car. The reverse, of course, was also true. The bolts in the back prevent the transmission from sliding backwards. The ones in the front are adjustable to allow for the angle of the transmission with respect to the car. The sides prevented the transmission from shifting left to right. Using a standard tie-down, I was able to hook the dowel holes in the transmission and pull the transmission up the ramps with just one person. It's slow, but it definitely worked. Here's a quick look with the transmission jack as mounted on my floor jack, raised to a working height as it would be underneath the transmission to be able to drop the transmission down. Here are a few construction details showing the front of the device. You note each one of the arms is independently adjustable. I can raise or lower each one. That allows me to tilt the transmission slightly. If I had to do it over again, I'd make it out of a 3/4 inch plywood and probably make it about 6 inches wider. Eliminate the hooks. Take the strap and wrap it around the transmission to secure the transmission. The side braces need to be about 3 inches further out to clear the shift linkage on the transmission. These two bolts in the back prevent the transmission from sliding backwards. Here are some more details with the device removed and turned upside down. You note that the bolt goes through the central hole in the floor jack and the contact pad has been removed from the floor jack. The small mounting plate where the bolt goes through allows the transmission jack to clear the floor jack. The main bolt is 7/16 coarse thread. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on a future video. Take care, baby.